And so you mentioned, or you explained your roots from IBM to Ripple now, and then to payments, obviously, and CBDC. So, but let's look at it from a corporate perspective. What's the interplay between the CBDCs, Ripple, and the enterprise blockchain technology? What is the problem that you are solving from these sort of perspectives, and how does it all fit together? I mean, we talked quite on a personal level. We talked about this on a policy level, but from Ripple as a corporation, where do you fit into that equation?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think the most important thing to note at the start, Rudy, is that we view ourselves as builders, right? So we are building and implementing technology. We're not trying to disintermediate the existing financial system, right? We're trying to make it better. So with that sort of as a backdrop, what we're really trying to do is bring our technology and our expertise to the enterprise world. So working with central banks, obviously, and retail commercial banks and private and payment companies. And let me sort of delve into that a little bit more detail. So,
sure.
And I mentioned this earlier. I think there's this balance between public and private partnerships. A central bank really does not generally touch the public, right? When they print cash, it's distributed through commercial banks, and then the commercial banks, set up accounts and will distribute that to consumers. So that sort of layered approach, I think, is very important. And Ripple's trying to work, as I mentioned, both with central banks and commercial banks to build our solutions out. Specifically around CBDCs, there are really three things that we're trying to do. One is the core ledger, if you like. So the technology that is used to mint or create the CBDCs and then distribute it and track the transactions, of the systems of record, if you like, on the blockchain. And we have a clear view that a private instance of an existing decentralized ledger is a good way to go, right? And what I mean by that is you take all the really robust experience of an open source project that's built a ledger that's been running for multiple years, like the XRP ledger, for example, and then you create a version that is a bit more centrally controlled, that a central bank can be comfortable with running, and that they will be able to still control their monetary policy and so forth. So that's the first step, right, is the actual basic ledger. So we're working on that. The second piece is, and again, I don't want to keep banging this drum, but interoperability is absolutely critical. So we're working on a project which is, how do you move assets from one blockchain to another? Digital assets, digital money. How do you very, very efficiently interoperate, say, between a digital dollar and a stable coin, or between a digital dollar and a native cryptocurrency? How do you do that in a way that is, robust and scalable, right? Because ultimately, if CBDCs, or when CBDCs are widely adopted, these are going to be big systems that transact, hundreds of thousands of transactions with millions, if not billions, of people eventually. So that's the second piece, interoperability. And the third piece is what we call a neutral bridge asset. So this is the idea of, how do you do, foreign exchange between two different CBDCs, right? You could do that. The central banks could have a bipartisan sort of agreement with each other on exchange rate, or you can go through, what we call a neutral bridge asset. Could be something like XRP that is essentially used as that layer to do the FX between two different CBDCs.
And who are your key clients? I mean, are you building these solutions for banks, or for the governments, or central banks, or none of the above, or all of the above?
So this is one initiative within Ripple. If I just sort of step back a little bit and talk broadly about Ripple, then we'll come back to CBDC. So, Ripple is our primary business is what we call RippleNet, which is the global network of several hundred customers that are doing cross-border payments. And we work. Our clients are payment companies, right? We're not a payments company ourselves. We don't directly work with the consumers. We work through companies, the banks, and MoneyGram and Santander and so forth. There's a long list. So we're building that capability out as RippleNet. And then, I'm in a group called RippleX, which is really focused on building out the sort of utility, trust, and liquidity in XRP. So we are working with developers. We're working with partners. I think there are over 12 million users that we reach through the XRP ledger, for example, XRP ledger, and something we're involved with called the Interledger protocol. And then there are hundreds of projects looking to use digital assets to create new businesses for themselves. So we kind of have this sort of two hats, right? So RippleNet is the business around cross-border payments, growing fantastically. RippleX is around growing the community around XRP and working on new use cases. Now, the central bank piece is sort of a little bit of a mix, right? Because we're working with central banks to build out these capabilities that I mentioned, and the solution will be a mixture of open source technology, maybe some elements from RippleNet down the road. It's still a little early to say exactly. I don't want to pre-announce too much stuff here, but so the answer really is it's a long answer, really, but yeah, working with all of the above. So central banks, commercial banks, and payment companies.
Right.